Game 2 was incredibly rough for Indiana, but that doesn't mean that the series is over. Game 3 is probably going to be the most important game of the series, as taking that 2-1 lead at home would be huge for the Pacers. But they do have a lot of problems to solve. If this Game 2 performance continues, the Pacers' luck might just run out. The first issue for Indiana is a man named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. SGA has been on an absolute tear, dropping 2 incredibly casual 30-point games. He just broke AI's record for the most points in the first 2 games of a finals debut, dropping 72 in just 2 games. The MVP put up 34 points, 8 assists, as well as 4 steals. The biggest thing comes from his mid-range game, whether it be out of the isolation, pick and roll, or in the post, he makes it work from everywhere. During the playoffs, SGA is a 48% mid-range shooter, and I've talked about this before, but he really does everything at a near elite level on offense. He's very effective in the pick and roll, sitting in the 75th percentile of all ball handlers. His pull-up game forces defenses to step up, and his speed and his first step are absolutely deadly. And I have never seen an NBA player split double teams in the same way as SGA does. Every single time a center hard hedges, something the Pacers have been doing a lot to try to prevent the mid-range pull-up, SGA can just split between them and get free access to the rim or to a sweet spot. And don't forget, at the rim, he is also incredible. While he can show off that power, I would call him more of a finesse finisher. He has elite touch and a silky finger roll. That's hard to stop, especially since he's finishing around 60% at the rim in the playoffs. On top of all of this, Alexander is arguably the most consistent superstar in the league. He basically drops 31 points per game, and he has only scored under 20 points once. And yes, the Thunder still won that game. SGA is the most difficult guard in the league to stop, and with all due respect to the Pacers' elite defense, their goal will be to slow him down, not stop him. That being said, you know that they can still win without stopping the MVP. In game 1, Alexander dropped 38 points and the Thunder still lost. It is possible to beat him without shutting him down. Pacers hero Tyrese Haliburton notoriously disappeared for most of game 2. After hitting a game winner in the first game of the series, Haliburton was essentially shut down and barely attempted shots for the first 3 quarters. When he did shoot, it wasn't pretty either. 1 of 4 in the first, 0 of 1 in the second, 1 of 2 in the third, but in the fourth, he finally showed up, going 5 of 6, dropping 12 points. It was an impressive burst, but it was just too late as the Thunder's lead was insurmountable. Even beyond the scoring, Hali just struggled. He had only 6 assists and an uncharacteristic 5 turnovers, with some of them being pretty bad. A lot of that came from his lack of paint penetration. Tyrese is one of the best in the league when it comes to kicking it out of the paint, but OKC's on-ball defense was elite and never got him to the part of the court he needs to get to. It doesn't help that he went up against a mix of J-Dub, Lou Dort, and Alex Caruso, all of those guys being capable all-defensive NBA players. Playing him that aggressively early on just disrupted his rhythm. It didn't help that the Pacers' second best player also went 3 of 13. As much as Haliburton caught flack for not being aggressive, some of the blame for game 2 needs to go to Pascal Siakam, as he didn't take any pressure off of Tyrese. Pascal went 0 of 3 in the second half, playing just 12 minutes as opposed to Haliburton playing 16. The most we saw from Siakam this game was his catch and shoot 3-point ability, as he's been hitting those at a 46% mark on 3 attempts per game, which is absolutely insane. But most of his inefficiency came up against Chet Holmgren, something I expected after the Thunder's Game 1 loss. Holmgren guarded him incredibly well with the length and just enough speed to keep up with him on the perimeter. Chet could meet him at the rim, contest the post fade, or sag off of him when he needs to and can still recover. This series might honestly just depend on Pascal Siakam. He was a huge player in Game 1 but was completely shut down in Game 2. If he can't bounce back in Game 3 and if he can't take some pressure off of Tyrese and help open up the Pacers offense, things could be over before they even started. Another factor that killed Indy was their ability to rebound, or lack thereof. The Thunder pulled out their dual center lineup for game 2, and that gave them a huge size advantage. OKC grabbed 8 more boards, and 4 of those boards being offensive, many of them fueled that 19-2 second quarter run. They also rebounded incredibly well as a team. Every non-garbage time player had multiple boards. Isaiah Hartenstein showed why he's one of the best rebounders in the league, and he consistently beat out Miles Turner. And Miles Turner is a big part of that issue. While he did contribute on the offensive end, 4 boards is pathetic for a 7-footer, especially on a team without size. Pascal Siakam is 6'8", Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, and Tyrese Haliburton are all around 6'5" to 6'6". The one 7-footer should be cleaning up the glass, but instead Turner got 0 offensive boards, while Ihart put up 3 in fewer minutes. In short, Haliburton needs to get the ball inside so he can kick it out, float it, or pull up. Siakam has to figure out Chet Holmgren, or figure out how to get rid of Chet Holmgren and find ways to attack off the ball. And lastly, Turner needs to show up from the rebounding end. He got 9 boards and 5 offensive rebounding in game 1. He can rebound, he just didn't demonstrate it. The last thing that hurt the Pacers was how the game was taken over by the support players of the OKC Thunder. Of course, Shai had his 34, but it was the bench that helped them win. Chet Holmgren isn't really a role player, but he had a major game compared to game 1 where he struggled. Defensively, like I said, he locked up Pascal Siakam, and offensively, he started the game off strong with 9 quick points, showed off 3-pointers, deep mids, blowed by Miles Turner's multiple times, just dunking and overall using his height to take over on both ends of the court, and he really gave them that momentum that gave them that 19-2 run. Because the second half actually leaned towards the Pacers. It was the first half where they lost this game. It was the second quarter and second half where the Thunder really piled things on, because then it became the Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins show. Caruso dropped 20 points off of the bench, hitting 4 threes, and Aaron Wiggins, one of the most underrated players in the league, went 5 of 8 from 3, hitting some key shots in the second half that quelled any run. And shout out to Isaiah Hartenstein. He played great defense, had 8 boards, had 4 huge assists in just 22 minutes. Like I said, that Ihart and Chet lineup is absolutely impossible for regular teams to guard, especially a smaller team like the Pacers. The Pacers have problems. It definitely showed up in game 2, and I didn't even mention the turnover issues that they had in the first 2 games of the series. But the Thunder's defense clearly turned it up in game 2, forcing unusual performances for Indy's 2 best players, something I don't really expect to happen again, at least to this magnitude. Hopefully seeing the ball go in late at least fueled Haliburton into hunting for his own shot more and playmaking off of that as we roll into game 3. And going into game 3, I'm also incredibly curious to see how Pascal Siakam responds, whether we'll see more Siakam Haliburton pick and rolls, whether we'll see Siakam use screens to try to get rid of Chet, or whether we'll see Siakam demonstrate that he's one of the best catch and shoot players in the league right now. Miles Turner also needs to step it up. He has done great when it comes to shooting and just doing a general scoring presence, and defensively, when he's on the inside, he's been doing pretty good as well, but getting beat on the boards like that is almost an automatic loss for any team, no matter how good you are. And of course, on the Thunder side of things, there are still questions to answer too. How are you going to stop SGA? Do you even try, or do you let the MVP go crazy and try to stop anyone else? Or do you just accept that he'll get his, and you just have to make sure that nobody else beats you? After all, J-Dub has had a pretty pathetic series so far. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can absolutely carry an offense, but the Pacers at their best can be just as good, if not better. And as far as the role players go, I wouldn't expect Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso to go off like that again, but game 2 also showed off OKC's depth, as they can beat you in a lot of ways. Hartenstein deserves more attention. He's got that lethal push floater, he has a great roll game, elite strength, rebounding, defense, and passing. He creates extra possessions and makes that offense flow, especially when he plays with a cutter like Caruso or a mid-range killer like SGA. I'm leaning towards the Thunder winning game 3 despite this being a home game for the Pacers. We saw their true colors, a smothering defense with a deadly offense. And like I said, J-Dub is only shooting 33% this series. Their second best player hasn't even had a good or even average game yet. But with all of that being said, I would not be surprised if Indy pulls it off. Just like game 1 showed OKC's weaknesses, game 2 did the same for Indiana. If you take an elite defense and combine it with one of the best playoff shooting teams in NBA history, anything can happen. But that is it for this one. We are doing analyses after every single game, so if you like that, hit the sub button and I will catch you all later.